All right, it is once again that time to venture into hell and a world of dating horror. We are going to be reacting to an episode of Pop the Balloon that I found particularly interesting. Now, granted, we're not going to react to the whole episode, just a segment of it, because for all of those that don't know, Pop the Balloon is a very popular online show hosted by this lady named Arlette. She sort of found lightning in a bottle with this show, I would say. And, shout outs to her for getting a popular show together that a lot of people kind of watch and resonate and find entertaining. It has been host to a plethora of viral moments, one of them also including Aaron DePlummer, who is now a popular reality TV show star based off of this show. Now, whether you go viral for the right reasons or not, I feel that a part of this show has to do with the virality and the potential to expand your brand, so to speak. And when you're looking at this show and these reactions, I need you to realize something really important. This is all artificial and created. This show is not meant to actually find love, okay? Because it's done in such an unnatural way. It's almost like a live action dating app akin to Tinder or OkCupid. The only difference is instead of swiping left and right on your phone, dictating whether or not you no longer want this individual in your plane of reality, what you're actually doing is popping a balloon, which is essentially a left swipe. And it's happening in real time in front of said individual. Now, you have to understand something really important here. The people that are on this show, the contestants, whether you are the one seeking love or you are on the other side, which is the one that's looking to receive it, you got to understand that there is an unnatural amount of pressure put on you. And there are going to be moments where what one person says dictates whether or not the other person wants to have any sort of interaction with you. And that's what we're going to be reacting to here today, because there was one particular clip that I found interesting. So let's switch over to it.
Someone that undervalues, self-care. Someone that has a lot of unhealed traumas.
Okay.
And someone that's promiscuous.
All right. Okay, so we did get some pop balloons. Down over there, see why they ended up.
I'm sorry. All right. So Arlette essentially asked him what are deal breakers for him, and he mentioned them. The second he said promiscuous, two of them immediately popped their balloons, which I found funny. I'm not saying that that's the reason that they did do it, but it is kind of coincidental, right? Like I said, it's really funny. So let's hear what they got to say.
Pop in. We'll start here. Your name and age.
Hi, I'm Rebel, and I'm 31.
And Rebel, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
For me, it's not that I'm promiscuous. It's,
there we
I
go.
think just the initial attraction is the biggest thing. Yeah.
See here.
Yeah.
And now, is she someone that's your type?
Not so much. Yeah.
Why not?
I'll say more so like the hair. So more so attracted to longer hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
There we go, folks. You just saw it happen live. Okay. Now, he made a comment about not liking her hair, and because of that, the majority of the women popped their balloons. Now, you need to understand something. This is an example of what I like to call being a girly's girl, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I want to say first and foremost, if you are the type of woman that dictates whether or not you're going to choose who you want to be with based off of other women around you, that is your prerogative, all right? I have no involvement in that, nor do I really care personally because it's not me. But I will say there is a sort of tribalistic mentality that comes into play when you are making said decision. Now, he didn't like her hair, okay? That's his preference. Hey, look, personally, I don't really think there's anything wrong with her hair. Her hair looks fine to me, but it is a preference of his nonetheless. So if he decided that he did not want to deal with that, that should be something that is okay by him. But their own group preference will not simply allow that to happen. They can't allow it to happen. Now, what you're going to see here is that as Arlette goes down the line of women, she's going to ask them why they ended up popping. And most of them are going to indeed mention the comment about the hair. So let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on over here. Your name and age.
I'm Kiara. I'm 31.
And Kiara, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
Just initial attraction, but he sounds like a great guy.
And now, is she someone that's your type?
Not so much. Yeah.
Why not?
Arlette is actually diabolical in her own unique way because The majority of the women have the same cookie cutter answer where they just pretty much tell him, oh, it's initial attraction, right? That's like their magic word. Now, she accepts that as an answer and keeps it moving, but she doesn't really give the guys that same grace. She wants to dig in. She's like, well, why aren't you attracted to her? Well, is there any particular reason you're not attracted to her? And she will refuse to move on until the guy either says something incriminating that makes him look bad in the public eye, or if they already give an honest answer, she'll sort of just move on. But I need you to see how diabolical this really is, because Arlette plays innocent, but what she's actually doing is capturing viral moments, which I hold it not against her at all, because I get it. She's trying to make her money and she's succeeding in doing it. But I just did find that interesting how the majority of the women will kind of sort of give the same default response and she sort of lets it slide. It's very rare that I see her kind of like push up on them, right? But let's move on to the rest of this.
I'd also say maybe just the style in general. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, he didn't like her style. You know what? I'll be honest. She looks very attractive in my opinion. She has a very nice body. So did the first one. He probably didn't like her hair either, but he didn't want to make a comment on the hair again, because if he did, then that would spell certain doom for him with the rest of the women there. Now, you got to understand something. This guy is no angel by any stretch of the imagination either, because he doesn't seem to be interested in any of these women. So I would have just been like, hey, you know what? Just send me on when you get like the next group of women, because he doesn't really seem to be interested in any of them either.
Let's go over here. Your name and age.
Catherine, 31.
Catherine, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
Initial attraction as well. I do like everything that you said. I resonated with a lot of it. Just chemistry. I didn't feel.
Okay. Cool. Same thing here. She's someone that's your type.
No.
Okay. Why not?
More into like athletic physique. Yeah.
Thank you.
He basically said she needs to work out. Your girl needs to work out. That's what he said. But once again, she gave the same cookie cutter answer. Initial attraction. Why is that such an accepted answer? Why not push a little harder on that? I would personally. Now, granted, she does preface it afterwards by giving additional context about his character as a whole, but at the end of the day, this is sort of a first impression show where you're going to physically see somebody and you're going to dictate whether you're attracted to them or not. Because I'll tell you this much. I've seen episodes of this where the second a guy comes out, all of the girls will immediately pop before the guy even has an opportunity to be in frame and in the screen, and vice versa. There's also been women that will show up and the guys do the same thing for them. So, pushing on the attraction portion should be more of a focus. You should want to give more reasons. Now, he did mention the hair, but Arlette could also tell the girls, hey, you know what? Why not give us more of an accurate representation on why you're not into this guy? You know what I'm saying? Instead of just saying initial attraction, it is very much a cop-out, but I guess it is a way for the girls to like stay face and not make themselves look bad, on social media.
Let's go over here. Your name and age.
I'm Dre and I'm 31.
Hey, and why'd you end up popping your balloon?
I really don't like the outfit, the skinny jeans, and I could hear you clicking when you came on. So yeah.
Okay, the outfit, the skinny jeans, and the clicking. Now, the previous girl, he told her that it's because he didn't think she was an athletic build. So he basically called her fat, which, whatever, it is what it is. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. It's perfectly within his right to not like somebody based off of their body type. I think that's okay. Women and men both do it alike, and that's just the reality of this world, right? Now, this girl, I do like that she actually mentioned his outfit and said stuff about him, but that's also because he's going to basically say the same thing about her that was said about the previous girl, because she also does not have an athletic build. So we're going to see this.
And now is she someone that's your type?
No.
All right. And why not?
Also, more so someone that is more physically,
You see?
what I like. So athletic. Yeah.
So you're too big, girl. That's what he's basically saying.
I am Sade. I am 28.
Okay. And Sade, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
It was a comment about the shorter hair. I can understand that, you don't like shorter hair, but I feel like as a Black woman, I switch it up so much. So it might be a day where you see me with short hair, long hair. I feel like that was kind of a petty reason to pop. So
You see, so once again, this is also a classic example of like own group preference, the tribalistic mentality that they have where because he said one thing about one woman. They feel that they need to defend that person's honor and say no to him as a result. I kind of think it's a really crummy reason to pop a balloon, because it's like, why are you worrying about what he's saying to like the next person? You know what I mean? If anything, it should benefit you more because you have long hair, right? So then that means that you would be more along the lines of somebody that he is interested in. You see, I think this is just a fundamental difference between the way men and women think when it comes to dating. I'm not going to defend every like Tom, Dick, and Harry that's at a bar or at this show or anywhere else, because they said something negative about him. What they say about him has nothing to do with me. So why would I take it personally? This is just a mentality that I think is also unrealistic, because at the end of the day, none of these women really know each other, nor would they really defend each other outside of this particular environment. This is just to stay face for the show, in my personal opinion. Now, however, I did like her reasoning, even though she did say that it was because of the hair comment. She also prefaced it by saying that because she wears short hair once in a while, that might not be something that he likes. So she's not fully really dogging the dude. But she still kind of came out with that first, which sort of, in a way, sort of invalidates her statement about her having short hair occasionally.
Oh yeah, that was why.
Okay. But prior to him saying that, why was your balloon unpopped?
He has a lot going for himself. He's very attractive. That's pretty much it.
Okay, got it. And now, is she someone that's your type?
No.
Okay. Why not?
Same reason as before. Not physically my type in terms of body type. Yeah.
I could live with it.
Thank you. Your name and age?
So he clearly had a problem with the weight. Now, this one that's about to talk, I think she's very attractive. I'm curious as to see what he's going to tell her.
Yeah, Sammy, 31.
Okay. And Sammy, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
Initial attraction.
Initial attraction
and,
again.
Like the connection, the chemistry, unfortunately. Yeah.
You see how easy it is for them to get away with such a crappy answer? She basically said what the rest of them said. I really wish Arlette would push a little harder on this. Hopefully she will in the future. But for now, it is what it is. We sort of get what we get. He's not going to like her either, even though she has the long hair. She does have somewhat of an athletic build. She looks really good. She's actually very pretty. So I'm curious as to see what his justification is going to be for this one.
And now, is she someone that's your type?
No.
Okay. And why not?
Again, I'm very particular. So I think just, the body type would be
The body type.
more so what it would have to do with. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is so diabolical of the cameraman. He's like the body type, and then they start like looking at her from the top all the way down. Personally, I think let's go back a little bit, just a hair.
No.
You said no to her.
And why not?
Again, I'm very particular. So I think just, the body type would be more.
This girl's gorgeous. I don't know what he's talking about. I think out of all the ones that he's talked to so far, she probably has the most overall of what he was initially looking for. She has the long straight hair. The eyes are pretty. I'm sure those are contacts, but who knows? She's not like overweight. She actually has a very nice figure. So it's really interesting that he said the body type. But what I found funny is just how the cameraman is just sort of like, oh, let me like pan up and down at this at this girl. That is a little diabolical.
Your name and age?
Hi, I'm Sandy. I'm 33.
Okay, so just to preface it, this is where I saw the clip, because this is what I saw online and what made me want to react to it initially. It's just the interaction that these two had back and forth. So I will have quite a bit to say on this one here.
And Sandy, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
I ended up popping it because you're attractive. You got it going on. But that comment about hair, I know your mama got short hair too. She's black. At the end of the day, black women,
The reason I initially decided to react to this one was because of the interaction that these two had. In his own group preference, she said because of the short hair. And now she's also going to bring race into this because she's saying that your mom was black and your mama has short hair. Realistically, that shouldn't have anything to do with anything because he's not dating his mom. He's looking for somebody else to date. And I just think that it's a little silly for her to bring that up. But you're going to see here that this particular young lady, she's going to make this about race, which I always hate when people do that because sometimes it has nothing to do with that. It just is what it is simply. And when people can't accept the fact that someone does have a preference, whether you're a man or a woman, they always try to find another underlying reason on why they did what they did, which I think is kind of silly, you know.
To expect with our hair, we could wear it straight, we could wear it curly, and that was just like too much for me. So I don't got time for it. If you don't know, if you can't grow up from your roots, then you can't grow up with me. So that's how I feel.
Interesting. I mean, my trip was actually on my necklace. She doesn't have short hair for one.
It doesn't matter. It's
but-
about who you are as a brother. Person you don't make hair don't make your personality. You dig me? It's about who you are. If you confident with short hair, long hair, it doesn't matter. Because a lot of girls that do have long hair, the hairs be thin. I have a salon. When I was 16, I brought my mother a salon with my business that I do. So yeah, I have dealt with.
She said that when she was 16, she had a salon and grew this business. I would like to know how all these people that are on this show, they're entrepreneurs. They have like 2 or 3 day jobs. They run Airbnbs. You know, they they have financial firms, and somehow they're on this show looking for love, right? I always find it interesting how they just have so many different jobs. I'm curious as to how Arlette actually finds these people, but this lady clearly, she does kind of want to go viral. You can see that, you know, she probably wants to like advertise a business or two. And that's okay. I don't find anything wrong with that personally. I mean, I'm reacting to this show because I'm hoping that it'll help me with my following as well. But I also do genuinely like this show. You know, this is not like to crap on it. It's just an understanding on, I guess, a dissection or an analysis on what this show's really about. And these two's interaction is really interesting. So let's keep listening to it.
So many different type of hairs. Shout out to my mom, Captivated Styles in the building. Philly, we here.
You see, she did advertise. She's like, while I'm dissing this dude and tearing him apart, let me plug in my own stuff. I told you she was going to do that.
But what you said, it's just not for me. You need to really check on your ends before you talk about long or short hair, because a lot of girls with long hair be having no hair just because it's long, it's thin. So yeah, I'm sorry, I can't.
Okay.
She really got passionate about that.
It's not triggered.
First of all, I didn't say that the hairstyle she had was not good.
You
I
said you like girls with long hair. That's not right. You should never said that at all.
But why? Why can't he say that? That's a preference. You know what? This actually really kind of ticks me off. Just really like butters my biscuit in the wrong way, because why is he not allowed to say that? Realistically, I think it's kind of nonsense. There have been plenty of women that have gotten on the show that will say because the guy is too short, they don't want him, you know? So should they not be allowed to say that the guy is too short? I think they're well within their right to say that. Why can't he make a preference statement about hair? You know, it's because when it doesn't benefit you, it always makes it seem like it's a personal attack. I don't really think it's a personal attack. Him stating that he didn't like that girl's short hair. By the way, the first girl that he said whose hair was short, she's actually very beautiful also. You know what I mean? That's just a preference of his. And I think that's okay. So for her to get so offended, I think it's kind of silly. And once more, she did want to, you saw how she sort of plugged in her stuff, which, I don't know. It is what it is. But she's also very combative. And it's okay, in my opinion, if you know, you have a strong personality and you're a little combative. But I think when you meet somebody, your first instinctual reaction should not be to fight with them, because you're going to already show that, you know, you're not a match just off the bat. You know, you don't even have the ability to be pleasant with somebody and pleasantly tell them why you said no. You know, you're going to automatically go to the negative. And someone like that, in my personal opinion, would be very difficult to be with. It's just something I wouldn't want to deal with.
As a black brother, you should have kept that as what it was. You should have just said, you know, you're not just my type. But hair, it's a different, you can't talk about hair. If you want hair, go get what you want. If you want Becky with the long hair, go get what you want. Don't talk.
You see, she just made it racial. So she said Becky. For all of those that don't know, that are not in the know, Becky is like another shorthand for like a white girl, right? So he's basically saying, oh, if you want a white girl, then, you know, go ahead, go get the white girl with the long hair. Now, that's just silly. You know, once more, you're making it about race. You clearly have long hair, whether they're extensions or not, which I'm sure they are, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you are also representing long hair. And the girl next to you, the one that I said is probably the most attractive, she also has her hair straightened out. So is she culturally appropriating? Is she trying to be somebody that she's not because her hair is like long and straightened out? No, I think that's silly. You know, you can have expression. You should be able to wear whatever you want. dress however, and sort of pull up whatever hairstyle you want without it being an issue. You know, taking it to race, I think it's kind of silly. I'm not going to say that the girls are racist because I don't really think that's the case. But once more, taking it to the, oh, you might as well stick with this particular person because, you know, this is clearly what you want. It's kind of silly. The man has a hair preference. And I think that, well, he doesn't only have a hair preference, he has a body preference because he also wants you to have an athletic build. And if you look at him, he looks like he's in pretty good shape himself. So the realistic expectation for him to want somebody that's also in shape is pretty valid. I wouldn't really take that away from him either.
It's a black woman up here about hair. That's just it. And I'm not triggered. Like I said, at the end of the day, your hair is nappy. Your hair is short. You should be happy where you came from. Period.
Can I talk or you gonna interrupt me again?
And you saw the other girl there. She was like, with the finger, like, go ahead, girl, preach. You know, she's basically, that's like a signal of agreement, you know, but it is what it is.
I don't want to hear what you have to say.
You
But
still,
you can say what you want to say,
Yeah.
but don't talk about black people here. But
So-
let's hear from him.
so again, her hairstyle, there's nothing wrong with it. So it's my preference, right? So if I'm here to date, I'm here to find someone for me. So I'm not dating multiple people. You're not dating multiple people. So my comment to her has no sort of significance on you.
Black women, if I want to wear my hair like hers one day, what you gonna say? Oh, I don't like your hair. I'm gonna go date Becky up the street. Follow along. Thank you.
Ugh. You see, and this is another thing that I don't like because she did previously say, I don't want to hear what you have to say. Well, you're shutting off any opportunity for, you know, a misunderstanding to be cleared because that's also something that's really annoying and a pet peeve of mine when people have one-sided conversations where they basically just want to talk at you and they don't want to give you the opportunity to respond. You know, it just goes to show there is a certain degree of immaturity when it comes to that, because if I find myself at a disagreement with somebody, you know, maybe I could be wrong. There could be a piece of information that was shared or something that was said, maybe not the correct way, you know, and by the correct way, I mean, it was misunderstood, you know, because often when people talk, once the words leave your mouth and it goes into somebody else's ear, you're not hearing and interpreting the words the same way. What's actually happening is you're taking bits and pieces of it and you're taking your experiences, everything that you've gone through, and you're taking that person's words and mixing it with your experience. Ergo, something completely different gets created out of it. So by her just giving him the opportunity to explain himself, which she doesn't want to hear, really shows that she's not somebody that, if you are dating, she'll ever really kind of, you know, concede any ground on anything. It's sort of like her way or the highway. And I just really think that's very unpleasant. But, you know, well, let's finish hearing his statement.
I'll say this. At the end of the day, are you here to find a man or are you here to be
I'm
with?
not here to find you. I'm here to find someone that's going to accept me, floss and all. And if you can't accept this young lady up,
Sounds like you're here to find the sister code.
no.
So we can move
Actually, women,
We can move
we
forward.
are here.
We can move forward.
Black women
It's like that.
stand up and-
Let's keep going. Let me reject this last one.
It's not about the length or
It's funny because he's in a hurry to like go to the next one because he's just gonna reject on her weight anyway. I already know he is. But you see, look at Arlette. She's so diabolical, man. In her expression here, she's like, "Yeah, girl, I really need this viral moment," because that's exactly what I personally think she's looking for. But you know, look, at the end of the day, he is correct when he said, "Are you here to date me or the girls that are on the panel?" Essentially, you know what I mean? And that whole sort of sisterhood or even brotherhood with the men, if you flip the shoe on the other foot, right? I really wouldn't find that appropriate either. You know, I think you should judge off of the person that you're speaking to at the moment, because remember, not everybody speaks to each other the same way. This exists even in friend groups. You know, if you have a group of 5 friends, I guarantee you all 5 of you don't have the same friendship. There are some of you that will be more okay with expressing certain things to each other. Some of you will want to go out and have drinks with one friend, and then, you know, with the other one, you'll probably want to go watch a movie. There are degrees of separation in friend groups and within relationships as well. You know, not everybody is going to treat everyone the same. So it's just a little silly for her to go off the way she's going off. I really don't think his reasons are that crazy. He never said that the girl wasn't attractive. He just said that the hairstyle itself was not a preference.
the texture. Know what you say before you talk to black women. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go on over here.
Yeah, please.
Your name and age.
I'm Kisu, and I'm 27.
And Kisu, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
for numerous reasons. The first one was the age.
Okay.
So I was like, Then the outfit, wasn't a fan. And then I felt like that comment about her hair, cherry on top, very inappropriate. Yeah, I mean, she's a Black girl.
She didn't really care about the age or the outfit. She was totally all about him. It was the last comment. But at the very least, she did say something more original than just, oh, just initial attraction. That initial attraction is such a cop-out. There, you know how you have words on social media and on YouTube that you could ban from being said? They should do the same thing on the show. Arlette should have like a guideline of words and say, hey, look, if you say initial attraction, I'm going to ask you the same question again because that's not an acceptable answer. You should be able to tell somebody what it is about them that you don't like specifically. I'll give you an example of me, right? So when I was younger, I mean, I have flaws. I'm not a perfect person. I had crooked teeth for years. I have aligners on right now because I'm fixing them. I had a chipped tooth. I'm getting that fixed as well. And we all have issues with us. There's no such thing as somebody that's perfect. All we can do is take a look at ourselves in the mirror and say, okay, what changes could I make to better myself? A lot of guys at the gym that are short kings, you know what I mean? What's their thing? They work out so that they can get stronger because, they're at a disadvantage height-wise, but they make up for it in other ways, and I think women can do the same thing. Her response on on his clothing, I think it's nonsense. I think she was totally all about him until he made the hair comment. And then realistically, she also knows deep down inside that he's not attracted to her body type because he told a couple of other ladies back that, he wasn't into their body type. So, she's going to also say no just off of that, but she's not going to tell him that, right? And that's also okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but in any case, I will say this, he leaves with nobody, and that's okay. Once more, Pop the Balloon is a very unique show. You are put on the spot, you're putting on a performance ultimately. That's really what you're doing. It's going to be very difficult for any of these people, the men or the women alike, to find somebody that they're going to match with long term, especially when they're so quick to get rid of each other for seemingly any reason, because that's what ends up happening. There have been several episodes where even when they do get a match and Arlette does her little signature, we got a match dance, they end up not actually going on the date, or they don't get together afterwards. They end up not really vibing with each other, because again, these relationships on the shows are so fragile because this isn't really meant for you to find love. This is entertainment, If you want to find love, you have to speak to a person for a longer time. There has to be more privacy. You have to have the ability to get together with somebody and really talk things out with each other. And because the show's a certain length, a certain amount of time, it only allows for so much, and that's okay. Shout out to Arlette and shout out to the show. I actually think it's really entertaining. This isn't a critique on her as a person. I just thought that this particular segment was worth talking about, and that's what I did. But with that said, if you feel that you've gained any value from this analysis, please feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, do the damn thing and help a brother out. Let's get my channel to ascend to the heavens, to rise from the ashes like a phoenix, and give me the ability to monetize so that I can keep producing content. But yeah, with that said, you're all awesome, and don't ever let anyone tell you different. Signing off.